What if the silence they gave you was actually the universe handing you the greatest gift you never asked for? Someone walks away. Someone who once filled your mornings with meaning suddenly treats you like a stranger, like a chapter they have already finished reading and closed forever. And everything inside you screams, chase them, explain yourself, beg if you must. That desperate impulse feels natural. It feels human. But the Stoics would tell you something radically different. They would tell you that the moment someone walks away and chooses silence over you, you are not standing at the edge of loss. You are standing at the beginning of self-discovery. The question is not why they left. The question is who you will become now that they have. Stoicism is not a philosophy of coldness. It is not about suppressing your feelings or pretending pain does not exist. It is about something far more powerful, mastering where you direct your energy when the storm arrives. The entire foundation of Stoic thinking rests on one fundamental distinction: what is within your control and what is not. Another person's decision to walk away, to ignore you, to choose silence, that belongs entirely to them. It is outside your jurisdiction. But your response, your growth, your dignity in the face of that silence, that belongs entirely to you. And that is where your true power lives. Inner mastery is not given to you. It is built deliberately, one difficult moment at a time. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled an empire while writing private philosophical meditations he never intended the world to read, wrote these words: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He was not speaking abstractly. He was a man surrounded by betrayal, loss, and the crushing weight of leadership. Yet he chose, every single morning, to anchor himself in what he could govern: his own thinking, his own character. Epictetus, who was born into slavery and understood suffering in ways most people never will, taught that our suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our judgments about those events. And Seneca, writing letters to a young man struggling with life, reminded him that time wasted in grief over things beyond your control is time stolen from your own greatness. These were not theoretical ideas. These were survival tools forged in real fire. Here is why this particular pain cuts so deeply. When someone ignores you or walks away without explanation, your ego immediately begins constructing a story. And almost always, that story places you as inadequate, unworthy, or at fault. The human brain is wired for social belonging. Rejection triggers the same neural pathways as physical pain. This is not weakness. This is biology. But the problem begins when you allow that biological reaction to become a permanent psychological identity. You start seeking validation from the very person who withdrew it. You obsessively replay conversations, searching for the moment you lost them. You shrink yourself, hoping that somehow smallness will invite them back. What is truly happening beneath all of this is that you have temporarily outsourced your sense of worth to another human being. Someone who, like all humans, is imperfect, inconsistent, and ultimately responsible only for their own journey, not yours. Ryan Holiday, one of the most important modern interpreters of Stoic philosophy, writes in his book, "The Obstacle is the Way," that the impediment to action advances action, meaning the very thing blocking you becomes the path forward. Someone ignoring you is not a wall. It is a doorway if you choose to see it that way. Manson pushes this further by arguing that your need for approval from others is directly proportional to the degree to which you have abandoned your own values. When you are deeply rooted in who you are, someone else's silence loses its power to define you. James Clear reminds us that identity is built through small, consistent actions, not through the validation of others. And Robin Sharma, in his quiet but penetrating wisdom, teaches that the most dangerous addiction is not a substance. It is the approval of people who may not even have clarity about their own lives. Imagine you are a lighthouse standing at the edge of a vast and stormy ocean. Ships come and ships go. Some sail close, drawn by your light, and for a season they anchor nearby, and those are beautiful days. But ships are not meant to stay forever. They have their own currents, their own destinations, their own storms to navigate. When a ship sails away from your shores, the lighthouse does not collapse. It does not dim its light in protest. It does not chase the ship across dark waters, begging it to return. The lighthouse simply continues to stand, tall-rooted, luminous. Your light was never meant to exist for the approval of passing ships. It was meant to exist because you are the lighthouse, and the lighthouse does not need permission to keep shining. That is its entire purpose. Here's the shift that changes everything. Stop asking, why did they leave? And start asking, what does this reveal about where I was placing my power? Because every time someone's silence breaks you, it is revealing something important, not about them, but about the part of you that had quietly handed them the keys to your emotional kingdom. This is not blame. This is awareness. And awareness is the first movement of freedom. The Stoics called this moment of recognition, the moment you see clearly, the beginning of philosophy itself. When you stop being a victim of someone else's choices and start being the author of your own response, something shifts permanently inside you. You are no longer asking the world to be kind to you. You are becoming someone who does not require the world's kindness in order to remain whole. Now let us move from philosophy into practice, because wisdom without action is simply entertainment. Here are the 7 Stoic practices that genuinely work when someone walks away and ignores you. First, the morning sovereignty practice. Every morning before you check your phone, before you look for their name in your notifications, sit in silence for 5 minutes and write one sentence. Today, my peace belongs to me. This simple act of reclaiming ownership of your emotional state before the day begins is more powerful than any conversation you could have with someone who is choosing silence. Second, negative visualization. The Stoics practice this regularly. Sit quietly and acknowledge that people leave. Relationships end. Silence happens. By mentally accepting the impermanence of connection, you reduce the shock of its reality and increase your resilience before the pain even arrives. Third, the journal of control. Draw a simple line down the center of a page. On one side, write everything about the situation that is within your control. On the other side, write everything that is not. Then fold the page in half, set aside what is not yours to carry, and focus every single drop of your energy on what remains on your side. Fourth, physical discipline as emotional anchor. When emotional pain peaks, your body needs movement. The Stoics understood the connection between physical training and mental clarity. Walk, run, lift, stretch, not to escape the feeling, but to remind your nervous system that you are still capable, still strong, still functioning. Fifth, silence has power. Do not reach out. Not yet, and perhaps not ever. Allow the silence to teach you something. In the space where you would normally send a desperate message, practice sitting with discomfort until it transforms into something quieter and stronger. Sixth, redirect the energy. Every hour you spend thinking about someone who has chosen not to think about you is an hour stolen from your own becoming. Redirect that energy into learning, creating, building, becoming. Seventh, the evening reflection. Each night ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do today that was worthy of the person I am becoming? Where did I give away my peace unnecessarily? What one thing will I do tomorrow to walk forward rather than backward? Every time you choose discipline over desperation, every time you choose silence over begging, every time you redirect your energy inward rather than chasing someone who has already chosen their direction, you are not just surviving the situation. You are being forged. Character is not built in comfort. It is built in exactly these moments, in the quiet mornings when no one is watching and you choose to do the work anyway. The Stoics believed that the goal of philosophy was not happiness in the conventional sense. It was the development of virtue, a word that in its original Latin, virtues, meant strength and excellence of character. When someone walks away and you respond with dignity, growth, and self-mastery, you are not losing. You are becoming someone far more powerful than you were before. And here is what you need to hear right now in this moment, wherever you are watching this. Your pain is real. Your longing is real. You do not need to pretend otherwise. But pain is not the enemy. Pain is the curriculum. Every great philosopher, every person who has ever achieved genuine inner peace, walked through seasons of rejection, silence, and loss. They were not immune to suffering. They were trained by it. Seneca wrote that difficulties strengthen the mind as labor strengthens the body. The very silence that feels like it is breaking you is simultaneously building you if you let it. You are not weak for feeling this deeply. You are human. And now you are being given the rare opportunity to become something greater than the version of yourself that needed their approval. So let this be your anchor thought, the idea you carry with you long after this video ends. The people who walk away are not taking your future with them. They are only taking their chapter. And every great story has chapters that end abruptly, unexpectedly, painfully. Not because the story is over, but because something more important is about to begin. Marcus Aurelius asked himself daily, "Am I becoming better?" Not, "Are others acknowledging me?" Not, "Do they still want me?" Simply, "Am I becoming better?" That is the only question that truly matters. If this video reached something real inside you today, drop a comment below telling me which of these 7 practices you are going to start today. Subscribe to the channel if you believe in this journey. And remember, the lighthouse never chases the ships. It simply keeps shining.